Tuesday. Today, we've got to work on, it's the first Tuesday of the month. And every first Tuesday of the month, at least for this year, I'm doing a comic for Geekway Homes, which is a local realtor that I work with a lot, doing different things. And what we've got today is the little comic strips that we've been doing for them. This is an ongoing story of what's been happening with one couple of two people who are trying desperately to buy a home. And so the whole strip set is about this couple kind of going through all the motions. Today's Good Morning, Andrew. It has a Scotia static, huh? That's interesting. Static. Let's see whose side it's on, because it could be on anybody's side. We darn, it does. Huh. That's really weird. And the static's there even without the music. Good morning, Donald. Trying to figure out where the static's coming from. The static's coming from my mic. And it's coming from the mic side. There we go. I think it's just the bus. There. That should work. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the mic is turned all the way up. There we go. There. Better. Thanks, Andrew. So, I'm going to unplug from my microphones. I've got a port built in right over here. You can kind of see it right there. I've got a port built in so that I can plug directly in and hear what's coming out of the board. So we've learned something today. I think the board's little pot here, this volume pot that's on the microphone, I think you can't turn it all the way up. I can't turn that bus all the way up. It's got to be turned to about 75%. So thanks, Andrew. I really appreciate that. That was very useful there. I was like, that's really cool. I can turn the bottom pot up, this one here, but not this top one. That top one has to stay right where it is, so don't touch. Maybe I'll put a sticker up there that says don't touch. Maybe that'll work. Who knows? Okay, so today's work is going to be on Geekway Homes, which we've got kind of going on right here. Right here. Geekway Homes. So this is a buddy of mine that I work with regularly. He's a realtor out of Brighton. And so he and I are doing this series of comic strips. So we're going to go on ahead and get started on this one. Because this is, of course, due tonight. So let's go on ahead and get to work. What we're working on here when we work on this one is we're going to be, first we need to come up with the blue line, of course. So the comic strip says this is about earnest money. So the comic is about earnest money. Let's get the right tools for the job. Okay, earnest money. So for those of you who are in real estate, this is going to be not very interesting. But for those of us that are not in real estate, earnest money is the money you need to put down on a house when you buy a house to indicate that you are earnest about the sale. Or you could just be named Ernest, and it's the money that you have. So, there are 4 panels on this. In panel 1, the husband, who's kind of a doofus, has gotten all of his money out of a mattress, right? And I really need to turn that background on. There we go. He's gotten all of his money out of this mattress for his earnest money. And the key important thing is some of these things are supposed to, it's supposed to highlight a specific aspect of buying a house so that they can talk about it a little bit. So there we go. Pillow here. I'm just roughing this in, right? Pillow here. He's pulling all of his money out of the mattress here. In this instance, earnest money, hey Fred, earnest money must be in the form of some kind of bank operation. It can't be cash. It has to be a check or something to that effect, or money transfer or something. And that's something that they really want to bring up and talk about, because a lot of people bring cash to the table for their earnest money, and that's not acceptable in real estate transactions. So this is something that they want to highlight because it's a mistake that a lot of people make, and it's a stopping point in a lot of real estate transactions. So we're going to use our characters here to be funny about how this works. So what we got here is he's pulling all the money out of the mattress of the bed, which I think is even funnier that their actual bed is a bank for this guy. So I'm going to put the bed in because that's funnier. Do it this way here. It implies that they sleep on their fortune. Yeah, that's actually. We had there was a long time especially during the funny earnest money. Yeah. So, especially during the recession and depression, the Great Depression, and things like that, there was a lot of loss of faith in banks, so people would hide their money on their land in coffee jars and things like that. That's what Don was talking about. And it's interesting because I still feel like we'd probably find money out in various locations that, people would die, they'd forget that they had it. Good morning, Paul. It's good to see you. So I am simply correcting the anatomy here, kind of going back through and fixing it. He's got a particularly long face, as a comedically speaking, so I'm going to make sure I have that marked. Like dragons. That's a good one. Yes. So these guys sleep on their fortune like dragons, says Fred. Truer words, my friend, truer words. So we're going to go on ahead and just sort of set this up a little bit here. So, I'll put the blanket right here. Like he's pulled the blanket up. He's unzipped the mattress cover of some sort here. And here's money falling out everywhere. I think is particularly funny, although I love the idea that these guys are just secretly dragons and they have a horde. There we go. So, like I said, just cleaning up the anatomy here. I've always thought that storage locker auctions would be a fascinating thing to do. I'm sure I would think it was fascinating right up until I had to do it, at which time I probably wouldn't find it as fascinating. First time you find a dead cat in there or something like that, you'd be like, well, that wasn't as fun as I thought it would be. I'm sure there's some horrible stories about yeah, Chelsea, I think a lot of people hid their money in their mattresses during the Great Depression. I agree. I think my grandparents did too. My great-grandparents, anyway. I think my grandparents were kids during the Great Depression. And somehow we actually, one of my grandfather's side escaped the Great Depression by just barely, because they struck oil on their land in 1934. So that side didn't actually suffer much in the Great Depression per se. I mean, they suffered, but not as much as everybody else did. So I always find that to be interesting as well. Yeah, I know, right? Chelsea's saying she's thought about doing that today. Well, if you do, make sure you do it in gold, bullion, or something, because that's probably one of those things where we don't know what the cash value of things will be. Trying not to get apocalyptic here. I'm gonna... You know, I gotta admit, that's a pretty cool commercial set. Okay. So we've got just the rough of this guy working on getting his money out of the mattress. And then the next thing is, I'm assuming these are all going to be $1 bills. Because it's not as funny. Right, he's going to have his arms like this. As he holds all this money. To bring it into Connie, who's shocked, obviously. All right. Right? I could imagine it being difficult to make money doing auction work like that. I think I want her to put her hands up like this. Like she's like, no, wait. Right? So he's got his money stash here. And Connie's going to say, you can't do that. Right. So far we only have right. So and then maybe here we've got the stash of cash here. And she will say, here's the checkbook. We're going to the bank right after that, right after this. So we'll have her. She's still pregnant. She's glaring at him. Because he's like, really? She's like, really? Really? And she will give the no. And he'll be like, what? Right. All right. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I know. I kind of troped this one, but I've got the instructions already and I can't really untrope them now. But she's smarter than him, clearly, on these things. So, it's kind of aggravating. I didn't mean to trope them. I was writing and we were in a hurry and yada, yada, yada. But at least he means well, but I wish he wasn't a bumbling husband. That's okay. Too late to make the changes now. We're already five strips in, so. Maybe, I think later on, he gets to be like, the story turns. Okay. So now we've got these three. Now we don't need this instruction set. We need the past instruction set. And though that's true, so here is what Connie looked like last time. Though that's true, the real reason I think that Right? Hi, Terry. Good to see you. It's lunch break for you. Yeah, I thought so too. The entire series of commercials for banks about keeping your money safe and dragons. That's kind of cute. Okay. So let's take a look at how we designed Connie the last time. We gave her like some fluffy hair and stuff like that. So we're going to go back in and we're going to just not that long a hair. But I want to give that same, this is the same character, so here we go. So, Terry, we're working for a real estate agent here doing comics for the agent on how to buy and sell a house. That's what we got going on here. I'm going to do this here. I'm just going to do like that. Up in front of her like this, going, wait, whoa. Right? And so, what we're going to see of him is his head above. So let's see, look at his hair there. His head above the money. If we want the money to look realistic, we just kind of make this sort of a rough outline like this. And he's going to be doing the same thing when his hand's splayed. So we're going to be doing that. Same thing here. Hands splayed, which means that we're going to be putting our hands out. So you can always do a rough on a hand by just doing a square with a thumb, and that gives a good start for a hand to go with this. And because of the nature of these things, I'm going to splay that out like this with the thumb, and that allows me to then guide where the fingers will ultimately go. The phalanges. So I'm going to bring this around like this, and under like this. There we go, just like that. So that's how we're going to do this. And both of his hands are grasping for this, so because he doesn't want to drop any of this money, which is why it's funny when there's one or two that's been dropped. Right. There. And then he's bowed backwards because he's trying to carry all of this. And so I'm bowing his body backwards like this to give more of a feeling that this is a lot, a heavy amount. He's, leaning back so that things don't fall. We're going to do this here. He's got the hair. He's got 80s hair. He has so much 80s hair. It's awesome. There we go. Okay. We'll go over here. And I'm going to go on ahead and let her head go over the word bubble a little bit. It gives some interest to the picture and brings that in. just a little bit here, right? And we're going to do the same thing with him. I want you to pay closer attention to what's going on with them and their expression than I do. Really, that's much more important to me than the words at this point in time over here. So I'm going to make them overlap the words just a little bit. And the same thing. I just do this here. Like that. It's, again, sort of amazing she hasn't divorced him. Right? And then she's going to have the bowling ball effect going for her. Because she wasn't a very large person to begin with. And now she's like 8 months pregnant or something. So she's getting kind of to that bowling ball in the front effect. There we go. There's the checkbook. And again, her hand's sort of splayed as well as she pushes the checkbook across the table. So we want that sort of a splayed effect, where your hands are out like this and you're pushing across like that. Some stress and pressure across the hand to do this, so I'm going to ultimately have to draw that in. And then we're going to put her face in right here. And she's leaning to one side, which I don't feel like I'm getting out of this shoulder. She should be leaning. So if we look at the action line for her, she's going to be like this, right? So one of the problems I'm running into is her head doesn't line up with the action line. So let's erase that and put in the action line correctly, and her head should be right about here, right? And then her shoulders, and then her other shoulder is like this as she pushes. Right, now she's looking over here, this way, and kind of giving an idea of what's going on. Now she kind of looks more like she's just sitting back and... but that's okay. This shoulder's too high, and that's part of it. Right? This is where this shoulder should be, like that. So she's leaning this way. Remember, again, anything we do across here has to go against the action line. So here we go with the action line. Here's our cross the action line through to the head, like this. There we go. Perfect. Now she looks like she's pushing that against. Right? There we go. There. Maybe she's a little too big. Come back around on this. She is little compared to him. But not huge. There. About 8 months along. So as this goes along, I am seeing, I'll draw for a while here, and then I'll start seeing that I just need to fix the anatomy. I think this is just the ongoing step that always happens at some point here. We need to fix the anatomy. Right? No matter what, we've got to go through and just fix the anatomy sometimes. There we go. And that's okay. All of us have to rework things and rebuild it. It's just normal. It's the normal way of doing things. So, okay, there we go. Do. All this money hanging out here. It's funnier than it needs to be. I think it's hysterical, personally. But I'm easily entertained. I also could see myself doing this. I totally could see myself bringing in a bundle of cash and then having the loan officer go, "You can't do that." All right. Let's talk a little bit about the text. So, going in here, go about 16 point. Actually, I think I'm going to go a little smaller than that. Let's go 14 point. So what it's doing here, where it says lorem ipsum dolor sit emet, that's what we call Greeking, which I think is funny because I think that's Latin. So, but it's called Greeking in the form of all of the graphic designers. And it's a standard format of just random words, random Latin words that are thrown together. And I think it actually says some things, but nothing major. The reason it does this, and I'm actually kind of glad that Photoshop now Greeks by default, because that's useful. It's an extremely useful thing for Photoshop to do. But when we design and do layouts, like page layouts or things like that, often we do the layouts long before the copywriter has gotten the copy ready. So we'll have to just build the page without knowing what's going to be in there. And we have to just know that we've got room for about 25 words here, and we've got room for about 50 words there, and things like that to make it look good and everything like that. So we'll do the layouts without any copy. So it's great that Photoshop's changed to Greeking now by default. So whenever you whenever you put out the little text box, it automatically populates the text box with Greeking, just assuming that you have no idea what the copy is. A lot of us always start first with the art and then go into the copy later, because the copywriters have to be checked and double checked, and editing has to occur and things like that. This also allows us to give the copywriters a limit. I'm sorry, but I've made a word bubble that can only hold 47 words. So you're going to have to come up with about 40-ish words to fill that bubble. Otherwise, we're going to have to shrink it down a point, and it'll look weird. So there's that. So now I'm looking at this, and I'm just going to try to figure out some things. First of all, and this is one of my fusses with Facebook, is at the moment the paragraphs are always set to default to hyphenate. Adobe, if you're listening, and I don't actually have any hope that you will, but should you be listening, if you could please allow us to either have it remember that we've unchecked hyphenate, or allow us to set that setting somewhere, that'd be really awesome. Because honestly, I never hyphenate, and I can't hyphenate for comic books. We're not allowed to hyphenate any more than we absolutely have to. So I'm always opening up the paragraph panel and unclicking hyphenate for every bubble I make. So here's the checkbook. We'll go to the bank right away. She's giving him a meaningful look. He looks like he might be in trouble. So there are only 2 bubbles in here. And that's kind of good. Okay, what's she saying? Because I think I can take... We didn't write it down in the instructions. Nate, are you there? Can you verify this? Because I think earnest money, there's like a certain number of specific things. Anyone out there a real estate agent? Earnest money types. Yep, so. Right? That would actually, I've got to admit, that's not a bad idea. Because I remember the earnest money must be, it must be certified check, personal check, or a wire transfer. Into a trust or escrow account. What I love is there we go. So even though it's set for hyphenate, I'm going to turn off hyphenate because it's, kind of a thing. There we go. So this is saying, wait, you can't put down earnest money in cash. It must be certified check, personal check, or a wire transfer into a trust or an escrow account. So there's that. Now that we've done that, we've fixed that problem. And I will actually make sure before this goes out, I'll save this with all of these layers still undone so that we can have a verification from my agents before we go there, which, that's probably a wise thing to have the client check it anyway. So, okay. Now we're going to go into black pen. I'm going to take my ink brushes now. Right, we're going to ink this in. Right, we've set her up before. She's got a very wide face. Right, so make sure we've got her wide face. Took this as a side view of her. I didn't decide what she looks like in side view. Oh, I've got what she looks like in side view. Okay, let's go back here. I'm just going to erase this. Here we go. There. Nope. She's unimpressed. There we go. I'll give her just a loose shirt for the day. The maternity clothes are often much looser than regular clothes. Like I expect. The character that she is, I don't feel like she would wear really revealing clothing. So okay, like I said, I want stress across this hand. So she's pressing down on here. I need to change this. No, I need to change the size of the brush. Because I want this to be much more like this. So let's put some pressure down on yeah. Well, she's pregnant. She probably ought not to be drinking or smoking at this point in time. I'm just saying, and Terry will back me up on this, it's not good when you're pregnant to drink or smoke. Smoking wasn't a problem for my wife, but drinking, she didn't like not having her the ability to drink a glass of wine. There we go. Okay, put that in. We've got check for the earnest money. It's here. Again, some more stress on the fingers. Let's put some stress in here. Stress it. Press down. So, not a lot, but she's putting her weight down on one side here. So, really having a problem with that one, aren't I? There we go. Brent, you're here. How you doing, my friend? All right. So we're going along here. Yes, we are doing another one for Geekway Homes here. This is their monthly comic that I've been doing. So now we've got to go over here and we're going to do this guy, right? That's him. So he's probably made life difficult for himself here in some way or another. Right? There we go. I'm doing fine, actually. Yesterday was a little rough. I had a really bad headache that wouldn't go away. I am suffering now more from headaches when we have changes in weather. Like my sinuses won't clear up, and so they tend to get really clogged up, and then I just get these horrible headaches. And I can't tell when the headaches are coming on as to whether it's just a headache because headaches or whether it's a sinus headache. So I end up taking the wrong medicine. Because if I take the sinus stuff, it's great. It clears my sinuses. The headache goes away. But if I take the, just normal ibuprofen, then I can't take more. When I realize, oops, this wasn't just a headache, it was a sinus headache. So I took the wrong pills yesterday, so to speak, and ended up with a headache for a lot longer than I really should have had. And it's aggravating because I'm trying to save the sinus stuff for when I know it's a sinus headache, because I don't want to burn through all of those. It's one of those things. Getting older is not as easy as it should be. Yeah, we've got allergies are high, and there's a lot of smoke, and we've got stuff kind of going on. I don't think all the fireworks shows were canceled except for 2 in the metro area, and so our neighbors made up for it by putting on their own. So our neighborhoods are just filled with smoke. It's clogging my sinuses. It's pretty brutal. That's all right. I'll live. It'll be just fine. But anyway, so that's the only complaint I got is I forgot. I took the wrong medication. I didn't want to take more than the recommended dose of ibuprofen / acetaminophen / aspirin. I also try not to take too many drugs if I can. It's just, I feel like it makes my body build an immunity to aspirin. And then whenever I do need painkillers, which really isn't that often, it's just when people put a whole bunch of smoke out or whatever, then my body has become immune, and I don't want that, so I try not to do that very often. But I did mess it up yesterday. Okay, so we got her hair going like this. There we go. And the answer is, that's one of the reasons why they are getting a new house. Is because they don't have a room for a baby in their current house. So they need to get a bigger room, get a bigger house, bigger everything. I could see that fireworks being no fun for any of you guys. Brent's saying he doesn't like this time of year generally because he has the same problem. And most of my friends who are service vets also kind of have a problem at this time of year, and I'm not speaking for Brent, but I know a lot of people who are sensitive to loud noises and things like that because of their time in the service. And this is a rough time of year for them too. So I get that, and that's cool. Well, I mean, it's not cool to you, but I think you guys know what I'm saying. So, Yeah, Donald's saying we had more fireworks in the metro area than ever before. Like I said, I think they were compensating for the fact that we didn't have any fireworks shows. But there's been a group of people in my neighborhood that have been setting off fireworks since March. And I thought they would have run out, but they didn't. It's illegal to fire fireworks in Arvada and Westminster, but they can get the Sahara storm stuff is also not any fun. And so that's also happening. There's a lot of things going on. It's an interesting time of year. A lot of interesting things happening. I don't know if I'm allergic to Sahara storms or not. I might be. Might be allergic to Sahara sand. Who knew? Okay, how did we do? Our eyes. Okay, so our eyes are like this. Right. There we go. Put her in her little blazer. A nice coat. There we go. Like that. There. Okay. Excellent. So she's just saying, hey, we can't do that, right? And this is more important than her, so I'm putting the bubble in front. Fountains, sparklers, smoke bombs, pinwheels, and snakes are legal in Arvada when the fire ban's not in effect. He says that in Denver, probably they're wanting to talk about my warranty. I actually have had 2 calls this morning already about my car's warranty. I swear. I think part of it is that I think my current car is now out of warranty, which means that they are really on it. They really, really, really want me to buy their extended warranty for a car, which is fine. I appreciate that they're trying to get work done and they're trying to make a business. I just wish they'd leave me alone. I wish they also wouldn't scramble their phone number. That's a little disturbing. I want to look harried here. Because, of course, as a business owner, I can't ignore phone calls. So I just have to listen to them say, we're calling you about your extended warranty over and over. We once had a law against that, I remember. But I think that law has recently gotten rescinded. So we used to have a law that said you couldn't call people on cell phones because it cost them money. But now people aren't getting charged for per minute unless you have track phones or something like that. So I think the law got rescinded, which is kind of sad because I could stand to have that law right now. It's actually kind of funny. I tag every phone number that calls whenever they're robocallers with a tag that says this is a robocaller. And I just recently looked, and there's 65 numbers right now on my robocaller, under the contact that is the robocaller. 65. And it's only about 4 people. Or 4 companies, I guess. I actually thought about talking to them and just taking up their time and wasting their time. But I don't think that would do any good. Alright, now taking a look at this here. Without the other part on here. There, like that. One will look harried, but it doesn't quite look harried enough. There we go. Now he looks harried. Yeah. I actually put out a meme once, which had Uhura sitting there, in her classic turning around with her earpiece like this pose. And I put, there's something about your car warranty has expired. That was pretty clever. I never see my memes go anywhere. I think because I'm the only one who thinks they're clever. That's alright. With comics, you just really need to have the essence. Right? We just need enough information that you can tell what's going on. Right? She looks annoyed. He looks like he's about to sleep in the doghouse tonight, and he knows it. She looks worried and concerned. Right? And I'm not going to go in and put every single dollar in here. Right? Good memes are a thing of beauty. Thank you very much. It's very interesting. I go to Reddit a lot, and I'm on r/Daystrom Institute, which is sort of a think tank version of Star Trek. They lots of deep analysis inside there. So you come up with an idea that's different or fascinating, and you post it to Daystrom Institute. And, you come up with a theory. Yeah, his eyes have the scared rabbit look. They do. A while back, Daystrom Institute had a post from somebody about Darmok. And the post was that effectively they're talking in memes, which I had made that analysis thought process a few years back. I thought, really, honestly, we've gotten to the point where, at first when I first saw Darmok a long time ago, I thought, well, gosh, how did they get to the point where they can't communicate anything but analogy? And my theory is that the children of Tamar are telepathic when children, but then they lose their telepathic ability at puberty or when they reach majority. And so that's my ongoing theory of how the children of Tamar work. Because then that would explain a lot of things, right? Like, how is it that they're all speaking an analogy? I mean, where did the analogy start? And that sort of my Daystrom Institute theory. So they've got nothing but these memes that they talk about that they all shared when they were all telepathic, right? So it's kind of like everybody has the internet, but then you start talking to people who don't have internet, and you're making references to things that were on the internet, like memes, and the people around you have absolutely no clue what you're talking about. I experienced something like that when I was overseas. You know, I kind of got hooked into the culture with my kids, and then they would start talking about all of these things that were references to Japanese culture. And then it was like, I'd come home and people would be like, what are you talking about? Unlike the otaku would understand a lot of it, because of course they're anime fans, and a lot of the cultural references were references to something that you'd see in anime a lot. So the otaku understood. But a lot of, like, my parents wouldn't get it. My dad wouldn't understand. And it's not that they, you know, there we go, put his eyes like this. This makes it funnier. The Doctor Who episode about emoji communication was funny and cute, but I also think that the first people, I mean, I know that this is a shocker to so many people, but of course, Star Trek got there first. And even Black Mirror has done an episode similar to this. It's not to say that these are bad shows at all. I actually rather enjoy Doctor Who and Black Mirror. Just, you know, people who came up with it first should be noted, and it was the Trekkies. Just want props, man. Just want props. Credit where credit's due. Trekkies are awesome. Yeah, there are generational and cultural gaps which happen all the time, and I think that's actually probably what really prompted Darmok, the writers, to write Darmok. I would be willing to bet it had a lot to do with, you know, kids saying awesome and radical at the time, because of course this was late 80s, early 90s. And we've got awesome and radical and things like that, and my grandparents had no idea what those words meant, and I knew that, and part of it was kind of a stick it to them sort of thing. I don't know. You know, you're a kid. You do stupid stuff. Okay, we're going to do all 5 fingers splayed out like this. So, well, that's not a good placement for that hand at all. We're going to move this hand over. Besides, it ends up with tangent problems anyway, so this is a better place for this hand. I love Darmok. as an episode, it's one of my favorites, and it does exactly one of the things that it's one of the things is why I'm a Trekkie is things that happen like in Darmok. Afterwards, I think so much about what's going on in that episode, What happened here? What would cause the children of Tamar to only speak in shorthand? How would you end up with a culture like that and not be able to understand people who don't speak like that? It would have to be an amazingly dramatic thing that happens. That's where I came up with a theory that they were telepathic. Right? Who knows? Telepathic children. Can you imagine having telepathic children? Imagine what kind of trouble they would get into? I mean, I always think about that too. I'm like, well, there's all these wonderful kids who can tell each other where the candy bar is, Right? And there's always going to be euphemisms for sex. That's an ongoing cultural thing. And they're going to try to change the euphemisms every generation so that previous generation has absolutely no idea what the heck's going on. And they can hide it from their parents. I think that's a time as old, that is as old as time. Hiding things from your parents is as old as time. As a junior high teacher, an ex-junior high teacher, I can pretty much say they work really hard to find ways to hide all kinds of stuff from us. They don't want us finding stuff out. It's not as cool. So, that's normal. There we go. Make her look shocked too, right? Put this like this, and then I'm just going to clean up this anatomy again. Because here we go again. It's just some weird anatomy problems right through here. There. Now take that background out, take the blue line out, and what I'm seeing here is really weird anatomy through this entire area. What we should have is her shoulder right here. There we go, like that. And we can put her neck here. There. Fix the anatomy. Always fix the anatomy. There. Okay. Hit save real quick. Oh man. Even for the simple comics, it's never as easy as just throwing it together. Right? I'm gonna loosen up my wrists a little. As they say, art is all in the wrist. So, You know, that's true. A Beta Z Vulcan child would be kind of cool. That would be cool. I agree. Let's move this in a little. Not only is it a converging tangent, but I feel like he's a much skinnier guy. So he's a little guy, like, not huge. Neither one of them are really big people. Which brings me to, like, her. I think she's just a little too big here. I feel like this is more oblong than it needs to be. More like I say, I always feel like it's my wife's also sort of a small folk. And when she was pregnant, it was kind of interestingly disturbing. She's very small, and then she was pregnant, and it was like somebody just kind of glued a basketball to the front of her. Very strange. You get used to a person looking a certain way, and it's like, what? Aww. Fred's saying that when the Stargate RPG came out, he asked a friend to run it so he could play the Goa'uld Wraith. The GM poo-pooed that idea. That's a bummer. I think a Goa'uld Wraith would also be fascinating. I really like Stargate. See you tomorrow, Brent. Have a good day, and enjoy your work. And thanks for joining me. I always appreciate it. All right. There we go. There. All right. Now we've got this is one of those things. When I bought my house, they talked about our earnest money, and we had the same sort of problem, which was you can't put it in cash. You can't use a credit card. You can't use a debit card. It had to be a check. And I didn't understand, I still don't understand why a personal check is okay. I kind of get certified check or wire transfer because both of those are, justifying that you have, the right amount of money. But I never understood the personal check. I certainly don't quite grasp the cash thing. I'm not sure what that means either. All right. There we go. So what we're doing here is I'm just going to go on ahead and ink in this. A Trill with symbiote going into the Stargate universe and having a Tok'ra inside could both survive as they are in different areas of the body. See, now all you're doing is just like making us all think too hard. But can you imagine that one? Would they argue with each other? You could just see this Trill like sitting there, and all of a sudden he's like, out of the blue, he's like, "Will you two shut up?" Talking to himself. He's like, "Oh, no, he's right." And then "Oh no, it's okay, Captain. I'm fine." No, don't tell him that. Okay, I kind of feel like I want to play that character somewhere along the line. I mean, that just seems like that'd be fun. Yeah, I have a feeling this must be some kind of anti-money laundering or anti-something procedure. I feel kind of like that's what must be going on here. Because you're right, this has to be some kind of provision against money laundering or something to that effect. Prevents people from doing that. Okay, so we're going to put the blanket right like this. Right, we're just going to give some feeling that the blanket's folded over right up here. Right, don't make my eyes glow. You'll make all three of us look crazy. I've got to admit that the idea of the Tok'ra Trill combination is pretty cool. I've got to admit, I'm into this plan. All right, this is the first panel we did, so it's one of the least amount of proper underdrawing. Here we go. And do this. This. There. So I'm kind of having to feel my way through this a little here because I actually did not do enough of the underdrawing. And I'm noticing this. There's a lot of detail and information that I'm missing in my underdrawing. So I'm going to be winging it here, which is kind of an uncomfortable thing to do. Nobody really likes to wing it in art. Because it's invariably going to go bad. Oh, man. That's true. The life expectancy of Trill is going to be a lot longer than the life expectancy of the Trill host, so the Tok'ra would indeed have an issue. Right? It sort of has John Denver air. I find it funny that left on my own, apparently I make people from the 80s. This is a thing. 80s people. It's like tomorrow people except yesterday people. All right. The blanket goes out like that. So let's go ahead and fix that and square that away. So what we're doing here is I'm just going to put points in here, and that'll indicate dollars, right? There we go. Making sure that they've got a little bit of a curve to them, because then it looks more like they fell, which is much funnier. The whole point here is to be comedic, so you want to make sure that it's got I'm just going to fold this back around like that. Oh, it's gotten breezy outside. Well, that's nice. Stand to have a little breeze. It's always nice. No complaints about a little breeze. There we go. Put the pillows here on the... There we go, just like this. Putting that there. All right. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 panels ready to go. Let's save. Now, looking at these 3 pictures, does this read? It does read. So I'm looking at this and it looks like all 3 pictures read rather well. Good. So before I merge these 2 layers down, I'm going to go through and do some checks. Like, I don't want that sticking up right there. Right? Or out here. Right? So make sure everything connects, but I might as well connect this down here and connect this over here like this. Make sure everything touches the ends of the screen, or the ends of the... I want everything to be connected, because at some point in time I'm going to want to put a background back here. I'm going to need to make sure that everything internally here clears. Okay. There we go. Everything looks good. Ultimately, I'm going to make it so that... Ooh. Ultimately, I'm going to make it so that all of these things all one unit on the ink layer. So it's important that I link everything correctly, make sure everything is nice and smooth, and clean everything up. I also think that down the road, they're going to want to have these colored. Right now the cards are, color them yourself. Right? Like something like boink, right? Oh no! Right? Fred's recommending that she has some kind of thing. I mean, we could do the anime thing, which is that. And that ding ding ding. That just indicates surprise. I actually kind of like that better. Like that. So she's like, pink, whoa, hey. Whoa. So I feel like her hair is curling over here. There. Bink. It has to make that binky noise too. There. So, Bill Ahmed, who does Foxtrot, always does these exaggerated ooh, like this, and for some reason I find that to be hysterical. So I'm going to do that. Ooh. Like, ooh. Ooh. Yeah, he's got all his money. Ooh. Okay. That's funnier than it needs to be, I think. So now I'm going to... I've just decided what's going under the bed there. I'm going to put the bedpost there, etc., etc., etc. He also needs a shirt. Can't just be wandering around without a shirt, even though he is technically at home. There we go. There. So, let's go ahead and merge these two layers together. And we're going to make this into one unified ink layer. And the reason we're doing it this way is then I can go back through with the fill tool and fill that and fill that. And then it leaked. Where did it leak? It does make you wonder. Down here. So make sure that that's in there. I'll go boink, right? And then boink. That's under the bed. Turn on the background. And what we're doing here is just cleaning this up. We're just going to go through and clean up this. Right through here, too. There. Restream was telling me that I have been broadcasting more than 85% of their users, which I think is interesting. Find that somewhat interesting and intriguing. There we go. And that just makes it so this has weight, right? We want this to have some weight. There we go, just like that. And now we've got a converging tangent over here. Looks like this line just went too long, so I'm going to dump this line because I don't want that to happen. So let's get rid of the converging tangent. It's not helping us anyway. I don't know if I can get this cover to go back the way it's supposed to. Okay, bink, you can't do that. That's all right, we got a checkbook. I appreciate that, Donald. Thank you. Okay, it's always weird doing these things. I also have a newer and different signature that I'm using for digital. So I need to make sure I've got that prepped and ready for this, because we're doing a different signature now. Bring that up. And this, I don't know if I'll actually show this to you. I'm over here. Except that everything has collapsed over here. That's kind of sad. That's okay. I have it's what's called the Hanko, and it's a well, maybe I don't have readily available. Maybe everything got toppled over here while I was trying. That's whatever problem. Right? Everything over here. I have sort of my unique special memories box right here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this because this is a fascinating thing in Japan, in Japanese culture, is the Hanko. The Hanko is how the Japanese sign things, right? And so, because usually, and you know, they're Japanese, the culture is complicated or difficult to write, or maybe they are having difficulty with their name. So what they've got is they've got a stamp, effectively. And that's what this is. This is my Hanko. And inside here is a small pad of ink and my stamp. And you just press the stamp in here, and then you stamp your paper. You know, and then that allows you to stamp, you know, your signature, so to speak. So it's really adorable. It's got this little door over it to kind of keep the ink from drying out. And then you put that in here. Of course, I don't think they expect you to use your Hanko in Denver climate, but so I fear that my ink pad is not going to last forever. Although it is pretty sealed in here. I mean, it's pretty solid. So there is that. No. But the Hanko, I've been thinking I would rather use that for signatures now because it makes some sense. I used to have the skull and crossbones because I'm a big fan of Harlock and things like that. But I'm not as big a fan of Harlock as I was in high school when I decided that was my signature. And B, I don't know. I don't want people thinking that I'm into piracy, because people are misunderstanding the skull and crossbones. It means something completely different for Herlock than it does for anything else. But the general purpose concept is piracy. So I don't want to say I'm not really a pirate. So it's not really my thing, especially since I'm an artist and piracy is a big problem with artists. So hey, I definitely don't want to start sitting around saying, oh yeah, I'm all for piracy of art and things. So this seems a little scary. So this is my new signature that I'm coming up with, and it's my Hanko. It's just that stamp. I stamped a piece of paper and scanned it in at super high resolution. And then I put in over here, I put my skull and crossbones for people who actually still remember that. And then I just copy it. And I bring it in over here. And I'll paste it in. Or I won't paste it in because I didn't actually copy it. You have to hit all first. Copy. Then it works a lot better. Right? So we're going to go on ahead, and I'm just going to go stamp this over here. This is also a way that the Japanese stamp their art, usually is with their hankos. So they will stamp it, and I actually like to give it just a little bit of a kilter. There we go. Right? And they stamp in red, so you can tell that that's their signature. And I actually think what I should do is go get a bigger version of this stamp. You know, make it a larger version with the X and O in it. And then that way I can get a stamp that I can use for artwork whenever I'm at like conventions and stuff like that. Wouldn't be a bad idea. Maybe get 2 or 3 of them, which do the same thing. So, but for right now, that's where we are. That's my current ongoing signature. And it really stands out when I do black and white work, especially when it's just that red stamp on there. It'll really stand out, and that makes it a little easier. So I'm liking this idea a lot better. It's not uncommon for an artist to change their signature somewhere along the line in their work. They try not to do it very often because it's difficult to track. But anyway, so there we go. So we're now at the point where I feel like we need backgrounds for this. So we're going to go over here. And I have a folder for backgrounds that I just keep around, because I like to pull up these whenever I can. So I've got these textures. And I don't know if I want speed lines or not. I might. Speed lines are a manga style thing which has a bunch of lines going in to indicate things, and I have speed like this. Motion or sparkles. Maybe not. He seems happy in the first one, so I'm feeling like a happy background would be great. Like this guy right here. So we'll copy, and we'll put this into here, and we'll paste it. Alright. He seems pretty happy, so I'll stick this one into place 1. And what I'll do is take this, and I just want the background. I just want the background. And we'll do this one right there too. Right? So we'll go through here, and then we'll go onto this layer, and we'll hit delete. And that clears everything but that background. here, this looks like more like what I would want for a speed line thing. So I'd want something that's kind of like, what are you doing? Oh my, oh my. So I've got some expression lines, which are right here. And these are like speed lines, right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to just take one of these guys, like this, copy, and we'll paste it. And then we'll do this. Right? This is going to be hard because it's black. I'm going to have to turn its value down like this so I can see. But we really want to sort of just illustrate that he has a bunch of cash, right? So on top of making this a multiply like this, I'm going to do that. The other thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to fill the rest of this panel in. Ooh, not that way. Fill the rest of this panel in like this, so that all of this area behind her is filled in with this black here. And then we're going to do the same thing. Come in here, and I'm just going to hit the background, right? It's going to cover everything except for him. And then we're going to go back up a level to here, Control-Shift-I, and then delete. And deselect. Now we can bring this back up to 100% and it fits just fine. I may want to go through and just clean this up like this right here. I'm just going to go through and just give her this black outline. Also, not only does it help with, there's this obvious this black line that needs to be cleaned up, but it helps separate her from this panel right there. So he's walked in and oh my, we've got this bright sort of shine behind him that sort of, oh no, it really illustrates that this is like a thing you know, oh no, what's going on here, man? Right? So the next one we want to do is, I have single box expressions, which I could probably use for this, but I'm not going to. I mean, it seems like this is fine. But I feel like now we're doing the, things are not feeling so good. Right, so this is where a good gradient would be nice. So I have these gradients that I once got. They're sideways, but that's all right. You guys see them just fine. And I feel like we're about here. Right? Maybe a little bit longer. I'm going to copy. It's in here. I'll paste. Okay, so this is not as big as I thought it would be. So let's rotate that. First of all, let's rotate that. We need to rotate this guy for rotate. So image rotation, rotate 90 degrees clockwise. That helps so much. Okay, so let's go for this guy, and let's go for more of a box. Because this is a full panel. Copy. Bring it over and we'll paste it in. Right. Now, it's important. Now I'm looking at this and I'm realizing I need to probably do more than that. So let's do more than that. It's important that I don't resize these gradients. So I'll just take the whole thing. And the reason that I don't want to resize these gradients is, gradients here are already set for 300 dpi. So these guys are already rigged. That's what we want right here. They're already rigged for the proper print resolution. These little dots, each one of these little dots will print properly. If you were to put it on a card or something like that, it would print just correctly. So I don't want to resize them once I've got them in here. I really don't want to resize them. It will mess up the dot pattern. Right? So now that we've done that, we'll do the same thing we did before. We'll go in here. We'll select the area around her. We're going to have to do a couple of secondary selections. We'll need to select here, here, and there. Right? Control-Shift-I to invert our selection, and then delete. Make sure you're on the correct layer. As David would say, layer check. Okay, so now we've got this. We've got a couple of little holes over here, which kind of bother me. So we can either leave them alone, nobody will really notice them, but I would notice them, so that's enough to make me aggravated. So I'm going to go into here, in here, and I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to fill this in, like that, right? And all I used was the clone stamp tool, right? And that's all I did, that was the clone stamp tool. So, go up here, and I'll do the same thing. I'm just going to go up here and do this. I'm going to just grab there, and I'm just going to fill this in just like this. Right, and I'll do the same thing over here. And this just makes it so that I don't have to worry. That looks good, right? It just cleans that up real nice. Alright. She's saving the day. Yes, these are two characters, though. This is Connie, the broker, and this is the wife. So the wife has dark black hair, and Connie, the broker, has blonde hair. So, it's not the same person. In fact, that's kind of intentionally why I chose for our protagonist female to be Asian, was because I knew that I could make it easy to identify the two characters and have them separated so that they can be easily told apart. I've got a bunch of, there's like a brick, blood splatters. Let's not do that. I think that won't go over as well. However, cloudy, staticky stuff might be fun, right? Because she's kind of annoyed with him. This stuff might be fun, right? Like a dark cloud has rolled in over this small family. And the dark cloud is where the small family is going to... He's sleeping in the doghouse tonight, right? So let's do this. Do multiply. And I'll have to lighten it up, otherwise I can't see anything. So I can't tell where I want this to be. But I want, because her hair is black, I want to make sure that some of this is around her hair. And we can't go out of bounds. So there's that. And go like this. Same thing as before. Except now I'm going to catch that there because I know that I've got this, right? So there's that, right? Everything's covered. Good. Right. Control-Shift-I to invert and then delete. E-select. And bring it up. There. Now she looks like she's kind of fuming a little. Okay. And there we go. So I'm kind of looking at this piece here, and I feel like we are getting done. I'm going to look at this one more time. Just look over everything, make sure everything fits well. All 4 panels look solid. I feel like we've got a good job going on here. The only thing I can think of is kind of wish there was more to the pillows. And I'm going to go over there real quick and just put something in the pillows. I feel like these pillows should have at least some kind of indication that they're pillows. Right? Like that. Just giving some shading in here. Something like this. Makes it look a little bit better. There we go, just like that. It looks a little bit better. I like it a little bit better. Also, while we're here, we're going to bring this in a little bit more like this. Give it a little more shading and health. Feeling still like this is lousy. I have to fix this, so here we go. Let's go ahead and fix this curve of the blanket. Because I feel like the blanket is not folding like it should, which it should be this way. And then this way. That's what I think needs to happen here. Couple of little connection pieces, and once again, back to something I've been saying all along, one line, the change of one line can mean everything in a picture. Just one dot can mean a lot. Hey, that rhymed. I'm excited to mean it rhymed. Yay. I think my kid would be berating me for it because he thinks it's funny. He likes when I make jokes, but then he has to act like he doesn't like it because it's funny. Because he's a kid, and that's what kids do. So, okay. There we go. That looks more like he folded the blanket up and made it go there. So that looks a whole lot better. All right. Now we're looking at this, and I feel like we've got a lot better of a solid picture going on now. I feel like it's funny that he's got that money in the mattress. We can read that the mattress, or that the money is here. And that Connie is shocked. And then she says, well, you can't put earnest money in cash. You must be certified check, personal check, or a wire transfer into a trust or an escrow account. Okay, good. We've got that. And then the wife comes in to save the day by saying, here's the checkbook. We'll go to the bank right away. See a couple of little things. I want to kind of get rid of the funny line here. But I like where this is, so I'm going to go through here, and I'm just going to put in just a little bit of black like this, and I'm just going to color this in, and then I'll clean that up. Right, the rest of this is probably okay, except when we're right here, then it's not okay. And this actually helps on the side, so I'm going to let it stay. This one's not a real problem. This one is to be. It does not have a problem. Or does this one? So the purpose that I'm trying to serve here is I want the black hair to offset against the black background. So I'm going to leave this one. I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to leave those. But the rest of this, we don't want to make it like this doesn't need to be in here. There we go. It looks like her hair is showing illumination through it. It's just lighting a little bit up, and that works. It works very well. Usually what I will do is I will put a stroke line around it at this point in time, but I'm going to go ahead and save this and everything. So usually, like I said, I'd put a stroke line around it, and that would help kind of get rid of that white chatter that we get whenever we fill things in and stuff like that. But this time, because I had a character with black hair, I was a little bit leery of putting a stroke line in because I actually kind of wanted to use that stroke line to my advantage. And there wasn't a lot of difficulty with. We only had 2 panels of black on black. There really wasn't a lot of lines that were black lines that were up against the black background, so I didn't have to work too much about it. So that makes for a different sort of setup and rig, and that's okay. So there you go. We've finished this one, which has to go in tonight to the client. So it was kind of an emergency run there, but it's done, and I like it. I think this is a fun piece. I enjoy doing these. This is cute, and it's fluffy, and I enjoy fluffy every so often. So there's that. I have been writing every night on Bellatrix Rising, so very soon we're going to be transferring over. I'm going to be trying to finish off all of the pieces I've got for Fred and trying to clear all the pieces off my board for Earth Tau so that we can start reconfiguring seriously for Bellatrix Rising. Also, Thursday I've got a shoot, so we're going to go out to somewhere near Colorado Springs. I'm not 100% sure, and I'm going to shoot a house. Kablam. So there will be no show Thursday morning, so just be aware of that. We'll have a show tomorrow just like normal. We'll have a show on Friday just like normal. But Thursday there will be no show. So cool. I will. I think we're pretty much at the end of the show here, and I'm going to head on out and go get lunch because I think that's great. You should go get lunch too. So I will talk to you guys later. Thank you all for joining me today. It's great. It's always great to chat with you and see where you guys are. And we had a wonderful time talking about Trill and Tok'ra. And so I'll see you all tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Thank you and have a great day.